This episode of The Final Jump Shot is sponsored by First Horizon Bank in Pocahontas, Arkansas. Equal housing lender. Member FDIC. The schools may be gone, but the legends live forever. Welcome to the Final Jump Shot podcast. Here's your host, Marcus Carlton.
Welcome back to episode 2 of the Final Jump Shot podcast. I want to take a moment and just thank everyone who has listened to episode 1 and everyone who has subscribed to the podcast so far. The response that you've given me has just been, it's surpassed anything that I could have hoped for. And hopefully I can give some good content and it'll continue to grow. Now, in episode 2, we're going to discuss my alma mater, the Biggers-Reyno Buffaloes. Specifically, we're going to talk about 2 seasons of senior boys basketball. We're going to talk about the 1987-88 season and the 1988-89 season. I sat down in person with 2 of the starting 5 of this team, Brad Haygood and Chris Eddington. Those guys just happened to be my cousins. Looking through the eyes of 9-year-old Marcus, these guys and their teammates, to me, they could have beaten the Lakers and the Celtics of the 80s. That's how high of a standard these guys set, and that's how much of rock stars that they looked like to a 9-year-old me. Now, many in the community would say that this team was the last elite Buffalo team. It was the last Buffalo senior boys team to win a Randolph County tournament, a 2B East District tournament, and a Class B regional tournament. The graduating class of 89 was the only Buffalo team in the history of Biggers-Reyno to win 4 straight Randolph County tournaments. A record of 64-10 over 2 seasons. Of the 10 losses, only 4 of them came to Class B schools. The rest were spread out in schools ranging in classification from single A all the way up to 4A. To all the old Buffaloes out there that are still with us and ready to listen, stomp your feet and clap your hands to that Buffalo beat one more time.
So now all of y'all that were on those teams, you know, you and Lee, Timmy and Wade, y'all all went to school together the whole time, right?
We had, and it was unfortunate, but we had about 8 or 9 players in our class.
Yeah.
Just in our class.
Yeah.
That was good, but you can only play 5.
Right.
You can only play 5. And, but let me tell you something. In our practices, sometimes we got beat in scrimmage. Sometimes we got beat in scrimmage, and let me tell you something. Them boys, they let us know it.
Don't kiss me off.
Oh, they had let us know it when we got in the dressing room. Yeah, buddy. They was fired up.
Yeah. All right, so I was trying to look at some stuff last night that I guess it would have been you guys' junior year, your 1 regionals. Mm-hmm. I could come up with 4 of the starters. I couldn't come up with a 5th one. I had you 2.
David Eddington.
Oh,
David Eddington. That
grade.
Son of a gun was the best defensive player. Me and David Eddington, we guarded 6'7", Justin DeBiase, which Mississippi State came to Beers when we played Beers, and I got my knee hurt. They had a scout or recruit or whatever. Mississippi State. He went on to play at ASU. But, yes. I mean, we and he had like 30 the first half, and they quit giving him the ball. Started shooting 3s. And I'll never forget it. I don't know if Jeremy Kellett hit that free throw or something, because I was back on defense. And when he did that, it was just like, and it was a new gym. We'd never played in a gym like that.
I don't know.
We would go. I'm glad you brought that up.
Are you recording?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
We would go. You know, we had a 5 o'clock game.
Yeah.
For some reason, we had a 5 o'clock game. First game was against Delphine. Well, they'd take us out, and we'd eat our lunch at school at 10 o'clock in the morning, send us home, get our stuff. We had to leave the school around 3, to get there by 5. Well, might have been earlier because we'd stop at Castellano's. You remember that in Highland? We'd stop at Castellano's. Coach Rogers, he'd done contacted Ron Carroll. I don't know if you remember Ron Carroll.
Yeah.
Find out what's the best thing. We had 2 choices. It was spaghetti or a baked chicken. That's all we could have. So we'd eat that, and I'm telling you, we felt like superstars. And I want to say this, all that was possible from the community. Like I said, it was Success Grain, Farmers Merchants Bank, probably a little bit of Walmart and Corning, and but everybody come together, and Daryl Hampton, because we'd never been to Biggers County before. Right. Daryl Hampton, they had a sign that said Biggers County this way. Daryl Hampton, Jason's dad, he put a sign up that said, "Go Buffs!"
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. On the way to, was it Brockwell? Is that where they're?
Brockwell. Yeah. That's where it's at, in the middle of nowhere. Right. But they had a beautiful gymnasium. They sure did.
So I remember you mentioned that opening game with Della playing. I was talking to Brad about this. I guess it was at the game with Donovan a couple weeks ago. But that game, either double or triple overtime in that game, right?
It was at least double.
Yeah, it was at least double.
I don't remember, but I remember in that particular game, Chris made a shot sitting on his rear end in the middle of the lane.
Well, I didn't want to get a 3-second call.
I didn't know if he got a rebound and fell on the ground or how it happened. But anyway,
for the ball.
He ended up with the ball sitting on the ground, and he shot it from his rear end, and it went in. And I jumped right up, ran down, and got my 5th foul. They took it right to me. I fouled him, and I had to sit and watch the next overtime.
Well, and that wasn't the only close call y'all had, because I remember at the district tournament in Williford when you're playing Oak Ridge.
Woo! Yeah, we had beat Oak Ridge a couple of times, I think, at least once, but a couple of times during the regular season.
We smoked them.
And I don't know if we smoked them, but we won.
No, we smoked them. But they peaked. They peaked at tournament time.
They were big and long.
Oh, they was all 6 foot.
Yeah.
They were all 6 foot, and they was making shots. But they didn't make the shot Chad Hovis made.
Yeah. No, and we finally got in, our press started working. There, sometime in the second half, I don't remember, but we started pressing them and started turning them over, making them throw it away, and started battling back, and finally tied it up. I believe it was tied when Chad hit that shot, or were we down?
Yeah, no, it was tied. It was tied.
And Coach Rogers did call timeout, and we kind of, I don't remember the exact play, but I'm sure he set one up. And just so happened, Chad ended up with the ball and threw it up.
The exact play was give the ball to Brad or Chad. He didn't say nothing about Chris. He didn't say nothing about me.
But saving yours for a little later in the run there, if I remember right.
Well, just for the finals.
And then, fortunately, shot went in. We won. We knew at that particular time, because back then they only took the top 2 to the regional. So we were tickled pink because we knew we had to get to the finals to go to the regional tournament.
Yeah.
We celebrated, of course, and then Swifton upset Lynn, and we had never beat Lynn.
Never beat Jared Ritchie. Never beat him.
And they were good that year.
Yeah.
And
we played a one.
We felt pretty good. I felt pretty good going in against Swifton, but I'll be honest, if we'd have played Lynn, I would have. I knew we was going to have to play the best game we possibly could play, and they was going to have a little bit of an off night because they were good. And fortunately, we won that district tournament and then went to the regional, and we played Del Plain. We played Izzard County. Didn't that?
We played Delaplane, Izzard County, and Mount Pleasant.
Mount Pleasant.
And Mount Pleasant, if I remember right, Mount Pleasant wasn't supposed to be in the finals because they had to upset Cushman.
They beat Cushman, and they had 6'11" and 7-footers.
Yeah.
But Mount Pleasant had two brothers. I don't know if their name was Stories. I can't remember what they were. They were good.
They could shoot if I remember right. They were that's how they beat Cushman was they shot so well from the outside.
Yeah.
And then we beat Mount Pleasant by 1 in the finals of the regional tournament. And I'll be honest, looking back on that, and Chris probably has a different outlook or than I did, or a different feeling than I did, because at that particular year, I don't think anybody expected us to do that.
Yeah.
I don't feel like, and to be honest, I didn't know if we could do it that particular year, because, I mean, at that particular time, going to the regional tournament was a big deal. Now, the next year, we were expected to.
Yeah.
I think it put a little bit more pressure on us our senior year, because we were expected. We were expected to win. We were expected to win the state tournament.
Number one.
Yeah.
So I think we had a lot less pressure my junior year.
Oh yeah.
And a little more pressure, or a lot more pressure, our senior year.
Well, the target wasn't on your back that junior year. You know, you guys
we were nobody.
Yeah, you were the Cinderella team, kind of. You know, coming out, because everybody thought coming out of that conference was going to be Lynn because of how good they were.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, you guys went 30-6 that year. 2 of those losses were Lynn. And so I was running through that last night. 2 of them to Lynn. Obviously McNeil in the state.
St. Paul beat us.
St. Paul
in this year.
That St. Paul beat us to put us in the opposite bracket. St. Paul beat us. Everybody accused us of throwing the game.
I remember that.
They accused us of throwing the game because we let St. Paul, but it put us in the bracket
Opposite of Lynn.
Of Lynn. So that was a good call.
And then, so that's 4. Wiener. Okay, yeah.
Count, yeah.
First
game, 9 o'clock game.
Yeah, it starts like 6:30 in the morning at the Convo Center.
And we never played on the stage like that.
No, heck, it was like
we didn't get to go our 10th grade year. It was like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember, I got to play on that floor too, and for the difference in shooting at Biggers and shooting on that floor is ridiculous.
The floor has a thump, dude.
Yeah,
it has a thump. You just screwed us up.
Nothing played the same there, and it was different. But so we got Lynn twice, we got St. Paul, we got McNeil, Wiener. We're missing one. Who was the other one?
Corning beat us.
Corning, Bobby J. Morrow.
Yeah. Oh, he never lets me forget that.
Yeah, Corning beat us, and that's when everything changed. When Corning beat us, we went on a roll. Only team Beers were on 4 straight. And we would have won our junior year, but
our 8th grade year.
Our 8th grade year. Yeah, should have won that one too.
We did beat Pocahontas in the semis, though, to play.
Yeah.
Who beat us? Maynard?
Rick Haygood, Maynard.
Yeah, well, they was pretty good, too.
Well, I guarantee you.
And even our 10th grade year, I'll be honest with you. Now, I'm not taking anything away from Pocahontas, but when Pocahontas and Maynard we had won and was going to the finals of the county tournament, I was listening to it on the radio, Maynard and Pocahontas. And again, I'm not taking away, but I knew Maynard because we played them. We hadn't played Pocahontas.
No, they was big time.
So I was wanting Pocahontas, in all honesty, to win.
Yes.
Because that's who I was wanting to play in the finals.
Yeah.
And they did.
And they come in. Now, this is the first time I ever seen, a team come in with their warm-ups on.
Yeah.
They come in, they walk by that bracket. Old boy named Kevin does. He pointed at our, Biggers-Reyno in the finals. He said, dead meat. I just thought, man, These boys are ready to play. And I'll tell you what, it was a heck of a game.
It was.
Every time we played Pocahontas.
Oh, yeah.
Every time we played Pocahontas, there's a Biggers School, we had to beat them.
Yeah.
We didn't like them. We didn't like Maynard. And like I said, cream rose to the top.
I knew y'all had won, at least 2, maybe 3 county championships. I didn't realize it was 4.
4, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th.
We've kind of jumped around a lot, talked about a bunch of different stuff. What's your favorites?
Best performances I saw in the A tournament against Jonathan Neely in Grubbs. Well, Brad here, you didn't hit 40, you got 39.
I don't remember.
He only missed 4 shots the whole game. They took us out midway. We smoked them. Mm-hmm. And then we had to play Marktree.
Yeah.
But that I would have to say that was the greatest performance that I played with was Brad hitting 39 against Grubbs. And like I said, Brad missed a lot of shots, but he only missed 4 that night.
So apparently you figured out shooting on that floor.
I remember having a good game against them. I don't remember how many I scored or anything, but I did. That tournament in general, I had a great tournament. Mm-hmm. Now, then we go to the Kel Classic right after that. I didn't have as good a tournament.
Yeah.
But we ended up making it to the finals of the Kel Classic against Paragould, and we should have beat them. We was ahead of them.
We kind of peaked. I think we might have peaked. This is our senior year.
Yeah.
Oh, that was our senior year.
This was our senior year. We may have peaked. I didn't get to play that tournament.
That's right.
I didn't play. But Timmy Ennis, Jeremy Kellett, Wade A.G., they all stepped up. And we had it won until some guy had a heart attack.
I remember
up
that.
on the top row. I remember I had, of course, when we went on away games, we wore a suit and tie. I remember Brad, it got cold because they opened up all the doors. Brad had my suit and coat on, and we just sat there and waited. And we come back, Kyle Harris, he played at Perry. They threw a press on us and missed opportunities.
I think, I'm trying to remember, but I think Biggers had the lead going into the fourth quarter.
We did. We had it like 3 minutes to go on the game until that heart attack.
And it seemed like that took forever to get that, and poor feller, Swifton wasn't the easiest place to get a gurney in and out of either.
No.
Yeah, that's right.
Because you walk in ground level and you got to go up in the bleachers. And then, of course, the guy would have been sitting at the top.
In that tournament, I don't know who we beat the first game. Melbourne. We beat Melbourne the first game.
We beat Manila.
It was Manila. Then we had to play Highland.
I remember the Highland.
They had David Brogdon. He was 6'7". He could dribble.
Yeah.
And we beat them. We couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And then we had to play Paragould. It was Ridgecrest. It was Ridgecrest. And like I said, we're Class B. They were Class 4.
Yeah. I remember the Highland game. Back and forth. And then I remember towards the end of that game, we're trying to inbound from this end and we're going to the far end. And I think Brad was throwing it inbound and throws it up and tries to get it over Brogdon and hits the lights. You remember this?
I don't remember.
It might have been Lee. I don't remember. One of y'all was throwing it.
Brad wouldn't take the ball out. No, okay. Brad didn't take the ball out.
Then it wasn't Brad. Somebody else.
Probably
you were normally the guy that took the ball out, right?
Yeah, but I didn't play that game.
Yeah.
I was out there.
Yeah. But somebody threw a pass, and Brogdon had blocked shots and everything that 6'7" people do. I don't know because I've never been there. But I remember somebody throwing an inbounds pass, trying to throw it deep, and it hits the light, and they call technical foul. And so Highland goes and shoots a couple free throws. And, of course, at this point, I don't remember the score, but it was tight. Because that game was tight all the way through. And then they called the technical, shot the free throws, and it kind of put them on the cusp of getting the win. And then somehow we ended up with the ball with about 10 seconds or so left, and I think was it Chad that hit the game winner in that one.
Now, I can tell you how that game ended because I remember it vividly.
Well, tell me, bro.
Now, I don't know how we took the lead, but I remember the last play of the game. They had the ball under our basket. They had the ball under our basket with 1 or 2 seconds left. Mm-hmm. And they threw a baseball pass to Brogdon. He was on the block on their end. I mean, he was the tallest kid on the floor. I mean, we had 6-footer was our tallest player.
Yeah.
And I was right there with him, and it was a good pass. And he goes up, and it goes right through his hands.
That's right.
It goes right through his hands out of bounds. And I mean, if he would have caught that, there may have been a different ending to this story. But
he didn't catch it. The celebration started.
He didn't catch it. But I'm telling you, it was a perfect pass.
Yeah, you're right.
And he goes up, and it goes right through his hands and out of bounds.
Wow.
On their block.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All he does catch it, boom.
Yeah.
And we won by 1 point.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I mean, just sitting here reliving all of these glory days, if you want to call it that.
It was
awesome
glorious.
because, I'll be honest, Chris obviously has a better memory about all that than I do. But there were games, I'll be honest, I can't even remember. I can't even remember playing them or what happened during them because, and I don't know why, but that was even back then. That's not even because I'm old now. That's because I don't know. It just wouldn't resonate with me because my goal was to win. I wanted to win. I didn't care who we played, and I know that my teammates wanted to win.
Yeah.
We didn't care who we played.
Well, I agree with you on that. That was my goal too, and the difference in me and you is you put it behind. I still live with it every day. Every March, I love watching the state finals, and I've been to a bunch of them in Hot Springs, but it don't matter. I just sit there and just spew and think, God dog it. We could have done this, we could have done that, but we didn't do this and we didn't do that, and
here we are.
and like I said, life goes on.
Yeah.
Life goes on.
But Biggers, ever since I can remember, which how old are you?
I'm 47.
All right, so you're about 7 years younger than I am, and you probably are the same way I was. But in second grade, we talked about that a little bit. I remember in elementary, I don't know what grade, but I wanted to go to the games.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to go to the games. I wanted to watch, and I'd bug my mom and dad sometimes if they didn't want to go, let's go to the games.
Yeah.
Let's go to the games.
Chris is going, I want to go too.
Yeah, and but even then as a kid, however old, 7, 8 years old, the atmosphere in that particular gym and the crowd and the fans and the men on the wall, and it was just electrifying. And I'm going to say this, what motivated me, one of the things that motivated me to try to become the best player that I could be was watching, I'm just going to say, was watching Ralph.
Number 52.
Was watching Ralph play and watching Daryl Haygood play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm not kidding you. I don't know how many times I said to myself, I want that.
Yeah.
I want to be as good as they are or better. And I don't know how many shots I took outside my house, but I shot and played all the time.
We always played basketball.
Yeah.
And, like as he was talking about, as a kid, going to that Biggers-Reyno gymnasium, you parked your car and had to walk in. Well, you'd see the lights at the top. You hear the whistles blow. You'd hear the chants. Well, you got to hurry up. Hurry up. get in there, like I said, we knew this family, so the kids could just walk on in because mom and dad was going to pay. Get in. Well, like I said, there was smoke filled. There was so much cigarette smoke in the lobby. The smell of popcorn and cigarette smoke. Oh, it just gets you fired up.
And then you hear the shoes squeaking.
Whistle blowing. And then you get inside the gymnasium and say, okay, where am I going to go sit? 'Cause I want to watch Ralph Lynn. I want to go watch Ralph or Daryl. I mean, it was, and like I said, we didn't really just run around. We watched the games.
Well, what you guys are describing there is exactly the way that me and Logan and Jason felt about watching you guys. Because home games, we would have, all of our little buddies would show up and they'd all want to run around and run wild and stuff. Me and Logan were sitting in the middle of the student section watching the ball game. And letting the referees have it, just like Stanley and some of the others did, We were letting them have it with our little buffalo hats on. I mean, it was, I've said this before. I remember more about you guys playing than I do my own games. And it was just, that's where the not just the passion for basketball, but the passion for the school, and being a Buffalo. I mean, I still carry that, and it came from watching you guys. And I remember, y'all's 9th grade year, y'all go 20-0, I probably took as much pride in that as y'all did because that was just,
Let me tell you something. In 80 with Ralph Lynn, we went to Monticello State Tournament. 82 with Jimmy Eddington, Freddie Yarbrough, we went to the state tournament. Well, we got beat by Parkdale, and we got beat by St. Joseph. There, we had a spell there from 82 to 88. We didn't go.
Right.
We were in the 9th grade court. Yes, we went 20-0. Our 10th grade year, we went 10-18. And we lost the majority of those games by less than 10 points. It was always close. But we knew we was good. Everybody told us, hey, y'all going to be pretty good. So we got with Coach Rogers. We said, you know what? We want some new uniforms. And we want the snap off. We want the snap off. We was the only team in North Bay. Jonesboro didn't have snap off uniforms. Pocahontas didn't. We sold fireworks. The community supported us. We sold fireworks to get new uniforms. Well, I guess the athletic budget probably paid some of it. But we sat out there in the heat. We sold fireworks. We got our snap offs. And then Coach Rogers said, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to play Bobby Knight defense and Pat Riley offense. And we went through a conditioning program that we never went through before. We wasn't in the gym. We was running sprints. We were running 15-yard slides. I mean,
100-yard sprints.
100-yard. I mean, and you had to do it in a certain time or you have to do it again. That was the best condition I was ever in. Coach Rogers, he made us better ball players.
I'm going to tell you right now, I mean, I don't know that he gets enough credit.
He don't get enough credit.
Because he wasn't, to me, the best I can remember, he wasn't the fiery coach.
And we wasn't used to that.
No.
That's what,
and he didn't chew your butt out. He wouldn't come in there at halftime throwing things or chew your butt out. But as far as the knowledge of the game and letting us pretty much play our game, he helped us develop what I call the run and gun offense, and he just let us play. And I'm sure we had some offenses, like I said the other night on Facebook. I know we had to have like a motion offense or some kind of offense.
But we didn't run them. He would say, keep the floor balanced. 2 on this side, 2 on this side, and just freelance. You're smart enough. Go set a screen for somebody. They didn't know. They couldn't predict what we were going to do because we didn't know what we were going to do.
Well, and how much of that being able, the chemistry that you guys had, I think that was part of,
that started in the second grade.
Obviously, y'all were talented, but to have that chemistry and being able, like for you two, you guys can probably lock eyes and communicate without having to say a word.
Well, I was going to expand on that a little bit because I don't know how many times I throw a pass to Chris and make a cut.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Wasn't in the offense.
Right.
But I'd throw the pass to Chris or just anybody.
Hit me on the high post, you hit the baseline,
we make
shoot
a
the
cut
reverse line. Yep.
and get the pass. And I think, too, as far as all of our players, and I'm talking about including the bench players, were knowledgeable enough about the game to understand how to play, not just to play, but how to play and what to look for. And it was, I don't know how many times Chris would say, if we was having trouble scoring, and I appreciated this, and I've never told him this, but I have appreciated him, did appreciate this. But if we were having trouble scoring, he would say, go down to the block, and he'd move out to the wing so that he could feed me the ball down there.
Yeah, that's true. Because I couldn't shoot no three. All I did, get it, give a head fake, get the ball to Brad. 2 points. And then Brad won't start shooting threes again. He'd make 4 or 6 shots, and then he wanted to start shooting outside.
I wasn't a 3-point shooter. I'll tell you, I had a rule of shooting threes. You may not know this, but I had a rule. I'd shoot, if I shot one, which I more than likely would have, and I didn't make it, I might shoot one more if the right shot.
If the buzzer was sounding.
If the right shot was there. But, and if I missed it, I was done shooting threes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
But
that's true.
if I hit my first three,
look out.
Yeah, you better look out.
Yeah, buddy.
Speaking of threes, I got to tell this story. Chris, you may or may not remember this, but I still tell this story to this day to people, but we were playing Pocahontas in the finals of the county tournament our senior year, and for whatever reason, and I'm really not trying to brag on myself, but I was on fire. That first quarter.
I've seen a few of those.
First quarter, I was on fire. I mean, and I was just had one of those days. I was just in the zone, if you want to call it that. And Chris, I don't know if we scored or what happened, but anyway, we're running back down on defense, and I turn around. I'm about half court. Well, Chris ends up with the ball, and I don't know how you stole it. I don't know.
Well, I was fast.
I don't know if you stole it or how you ended up with it. But I turned around to half court and start running back, and he feeds me the ball. And I'm telling you, I don't know why in the world I may have shot this shot, but I did because I was NBA three range. He threw that ball, and as soon as I caught it, no matter where I was, I jumped up and shot that thing. It was stupid looking back on it, but I remember jumping up and shooting that and looking at Chris under the goal, and he was going, no, yeah.
It's a heat check. Just put the heat check on,
And looking back, that was the stupidest shot. I don't know why I shot it, but I shot it. But
I remember a couple of those county tournaments anyway, probably more the junior and senior year. And the thing that stuck out to me, and I'm going to ruffle some feathers when I say this, but it's my podcast and I'm going to say it. The thing that, and you got to remember, I'm 9 or 10 years old at this time. And, you put you guys up against the Lakers, I'm taking y'all. I mean, that's just where my mindset was. We go out there, beat everybody, get the trophy. Comes time for the picture. everybody's standing out there with their finger up, and the dadgum photographer for the Star Herald said, "No, we can't do that. Can't put our fingers up."
I
was a little kid, and I was standing here, man. I'm like, we just beat everybody. You get to put your finger up, and Brownie about got into it with the photographer over that deal.
That don't surprise me.
My Uncle Stan was not having it. He's like, no, they done rolled through here and beat everybody and just beat Pocahontas in the finals. We're letting them put their fingers up. And they went back and forth for a little bit. And I don't remember if y'all got to put your fingers up or not, but I remember that ordeal because all the other, whatever class Pocahontas had won, they're standing there with their fingers up and smiling real big and everything. And come time for ours, and Pocahontas Star Herald wasn't having it.
It was a Pocahontas Star Herald photographer. It was a Pocahontas photographer.
But that just at the time that flew all over me.
I want to mention this. And I don't know if it plays this, but like I said, we played in Maynard. Well, you know who the coach from Maynard was?
Oh, yeah.
Biggers-Reyno alum. And like I said, he got us most of the time. And I couldn't stand him. He's my brother-in-law. Couldn't stand him. He'd come up there on Sundays after church, him and Janet, and he'd eat all the pork roast and all the dessert. And I was like, I don't like this guy. Why are you coaching? I mean, I didn't understand as a kid.
Yeah.
Why are you coaching Maynard? Because I hate it. Well, where does he go to next? Pocahontas?
Yeah.
Well, I hated them worse. But God dog, we had some battles.
Yeah.
We had some battles, and
I think I was there for about every one of them because it was, I didn't have a big brother playing on the team, but my folks, it didn't matter where y'all were playing. They were going to load up.
It was all family.
It was a community. There were people that went that didn't even have kids.
We had
former alumni.
When we went to our junior year, we went to it and went to Harrison, we had folks from Corning, Pocahontas,
Jonesboro, Bud Johnson
they followed us everywhere.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And that, that's one of the things that when I'm talking to colleagues and friends and stuff as we're watching games at West Side or at Brooklyn or Valley View or wherever, I try to explain to them kind of the aura around small schools, and I can't justify it. It's one of those things that if you were not a product of a small school, you really don't understand it.
No, you don't understand it. No, it's totally different.
And
because that's all you had.
Yeah.
In a small school, it was just basketball.
Yeah.
We didn't even play baseball till our 10th grade year.
Yeah. Didn't even have a field.
Oh, I remember.
We didn't even have a field.
Had to tear down some grain bins to build the field there.
Yeah.
In Biggers right there.
So basketball was the community activity.
Yeah.
That's what their activity was going to basketball.
Right. Every Tuesday night, Friday night. Mm-hmm. That's what you did.
And, if you needed to see somebody through the week, it's like, well, we'll see them at the ball game.
And I'll tell you this, in Reno, we used to have 2 coffee shops back in the 80s. Well, when we'd make it to the finals on a Saturday night, you'd wake up around, it was a long day.
Yeah.
You're used to being in school.
Right.
But you go with Dad up to car. Well, then they made you feel like a celebrity. They're like, hey, what are we going to do tonight? Where are you going to be on? You just like, I don't know, man. We're going to try. Yeah. And then you walked out thinking, hell yeah, we're going to win tonight. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Again, I'm coming at it from my perspective of a 9, 10-year-old kid. You guys were rock stars, with the way that
we had swagger.
Yeah.
And we were cocky.
Yeah.
We were cocky. And I think, I tell kids this, I didn't like anybody cocky, but I tell you what, it makes you a better player. If you're confident.
If you're confident.
It makes you a better player.
Well, and I think there's a difference in being confident and being cocky.
And I think we were confident.
Yeah, we were confident. And then we just wanted to be cocky.
And we were cocky around ourselves. I tried to be cocky around ourselves, but and people will tell you that I was cocky. People that I played.
No.
But yeah, they will. They'll tell you that. But I was just confident.
Yeah.
I mean, I was wanting to win.
Yeah.
And I did try to aggravate some of my opponents every now and then, but
I got to tell this story. It was a county tournament. No, it was a regular season tournament against Pocahontas. Well, Brad got into a skirmish with John Fears. Well, they teed him up. Well, Rick gets a tee, Well, Brad goes up there. He's going to shoot like
six.
Shoot 6 free throws.
Oh, yeah. We were only up 3 points.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, first one looked good. Well, the next 4, that son of a gun, he would hold that wrist up. He would bounce his legs. Give him the ball back. Boom, boom. 3 dribbles. Hold that wrist up. Bounce those legs. Like, holy cow.
Yeah.
Now we got.
I wasn't a free throw shooter.
Now we got. No,
about
that.
70%.
I started saying that's probably the only 6 you ever made in your life.
Yeah, I was about
6 straight.
70%.
Well, I was there. I thought,
6 in a row.
we just went from 3 up to 8 up. 9 up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the game ended.
Yeah.
Yep, then the game ended.
Yeah. I remember sitting right there.
I remember your dad, too.
Yeah. I think everybody remembers that.
And Inez, after the melee, at the melee at half court, I was on the bottom of the skirmish. And by the time I got there, I looked up, and there's Brad's grandma.
Yeah.
She was 60-something years old. She was right there. Are you okay?
Yeah.
I'm all right.
Yeah. The one of the vivid memories of that night is, my grandpa John went to every game.
Oh, yeah.
Every single game.
Yeah.
And I don't remember, he might have at some point, but I don't ever remember him yelling at referees or getting loud. He just there to watch. I remember in the middle of all the drama going on, I looked down and he's standing there at the edge of the court and he takes his glasses off, folds them up, puts them in his pocket. And I'm just like, this is a sight I've never seen.
He was ready to fight.
Most mild-mannered guy, level-headed, always the guy that said, "Oh, now, come on," And it had gotten to the point where he was like, "Well, okay, here we go," and he took his glasses off, but that's just one of the games I remember. Don't remember if it was y'all's junior year or senior year. But we were at Swifton, regular season game.
Oh, yeah. Lee Haygood.
Yeah.
It was our senior year.
It was our senior year, yeah.
Lee Haygood. 3 at the buzzer.
At the buzzer.
Yeah. To win it all.
If that game had been treated like some of these NCAA tournament games, we'd have had a 15-minute review to make sure he got the shot off in time. But, and it seemed like Swifton was one of those that, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but it was always
a good game with them every time.
Every time.
It was was Jabbo, was he coaching at that point?
Yes, sir, he was.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Jabbo was a good coach.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't matter if it was at Biggers or if it was at Swifton or if it was district
or
tournament.
at Williford in the district tournament.
I mean, it was going to be a back and forth game. And
you know what the difference was? They had Preston Floyd and we had Brad Haygood. That was the difference in all of it.
I appreciate that.
But I remember, I believe Lee was in the corner, I think, if I remember.
No, he was top of the key.
He was in his... I know where he was. He was between the top of the key and the baseline.
The wing.
The wing.
In his corner.
I remember the shot.
Yeah, I do too. I'm the one that threw it to him. The play was you throw it in, and Chris, you run, and if he has to get rid of it, you get. I thought, all right. Well, shoot, no, he made the shot. He never gave it back.
What else do you guys remember? Your one core memory from either junior or senior year?
Man, I don't know that one to me particularly sticks out. Obviously, winning the regional tournament is a big one.
Yeah.
I mean, and in all honesty, we should have won state tournament that year.
Yes, sir.
I mean, that is probably the most heartbreaking looking back, because I think McNeil went on to win.
They won.
Yep. And we were up 10 points going into the fourth quarter.
3 minutes. We were up 6 with 3 minutes to go, and
I don't even know what happened.
Yeah.
I can't even remember what happened.
Yeah, and I hate to go here, but we got to go here. Leslie, your senior year at Sulphur Rock, I was as heartbroken as heartbreak gets to not have been involved in the
You
game.
can call me a baby if you want to, but I remember
it broke your heart.
Well, it killed me.
Mm-hmm.
I understand.
Yeah, I know.
And
I know.
I remember when we got
me
home.
too, because I
When we
threw the
got
ball
home,
away.
My mom come in there. My mom, and she could testify to this if she was still here. I'm sitting there looking at myself in the mirror, crying because I had on still had on my uniform.
Yeah.
And she's like, "What is wrong?" I said, "This is the last time I'm going to be able to put this on."
You know, that just goes to show the passion that the small schools had. You know, and it was, I mean, everybody knows me as a big Razorback fan. Same with you, Chris. But the passion for that, man, was just, Buffalo's was different. It was just different. It was life. I mean, that was what we lived
That's
for.
what we lived for. Yep.
Was playing ball and being able to go somewhere and beat somebody we wasn't supposed to beat.
And as a kid, mocking.
Yeah.
I don't mean mocking, but, I used to, Mom and Dad when I was a kid, we'd play Nerf hoop. We had in our living room. Well, they had some old glass that didn't have no lenses in it, but we got a rubber band put around. I was Ralph Lynn Morrow.
Yeah.
Like I said, I just play for hours.
Look, every year when I played Pee Wee and we'd get ready to hand out jerseys, I was looking for 50.
Yeah.
Because that's
I wanted 40. I wanted 52. I wanted number 52.
And I'm sure when I talk to Ralph, he's going to say the same thing about, watching Jerry and Jay play.
Yeah.
And it was just, the unique thing with all of us is that it was all family tied together. But it went well beyond that.
Oh,
because
yeah.
Well, there's no way. I mean, I say this all the time when people start asking me, and it's been a few years. They don't ask me near as often anymore, but I always say I was very fortunate. Because I do have my Letterman's jacket.
Oh, it's style. You got the best. It's in a frame.
Yeah, I got it in a
front
frame.
and back,
and it's
with all of his patches.
And it's hanging on. It was hanging on my office wall. Obviously, I don't have an office now, and people would ask me, "Well, yeah, you were pretty good." And I said, "Well, I can tell you this: I played on a good team." That's what I say.
Yeah,
I said I was fortunate to play on a good team.
Well, I got to say,
regardless of what I've done, there's no way I could have done it without them. And I'm sincere when I say that.
That's true. Then here's where it got messed up. We had too many players on our team that could play. We enjoyed that junior year. It was great. Well, by our senior year, some of them didn't get enough, and, they decided they might rather work than sit on the, and so we went from practicing against the players that sometimes would beat us.
Yeah.
To practicing against a less caliber. But we still practiced hard, but
that makes a difference.
That hurt us.
Yeah,
that hurt us.
And looking back at it now and having gone through, your senior year, your last go around, everybody wants a taste. You know, you don't like sitting on the bench. Everybody wants a taste. I mean, I would agree that definitely played a role. You know, losing some people, and then you combine that with the fact that 88-89 season, you guys had a big target on your back because the Democrat, you know, at that time the Democrat and the Gazette were two different papers. Mm-hmm. The Democrat had y'all number one in Class B for the whole year.
Yep, that's right.
You know, until the bitter end there. So you know, you guys know this. The reason I'm doing this is to keep the legacy of small schools alive. The schools like Biggers and Lynn and Oak Ridge and some of the others that aren't around anymore. What's the one thing from the legacy that you guys left with those 2 years? I mean, 64-10, county champs, district champs, regional champs, all of that. You know, if there's one thing that you would want people to remember about that, what would it be?
Well, I'll say this: we loved our school. And at that particular time, there was no one else that I wanted to even play for. You know, I'll be honest with you. I probably, you know, my mom worked in Pocahontas. My dad worked in Corning. We could have probably moved to one of those two places, but I didn't want to play for anyone else but Biggers-Reyno. And you know why? Because of the ones that played prior to me.
Yeah.
And me watching them, and because of that, and because of the community and the atmosphere that was in that gymnasium when a ball game was going on, and the support.
Yeah,
I mean, they did at one time, but they'd fight for you.
I guarantee it.
Oh yeah,
they will
we've
fight
seen it
for
firsthand.
You. Yeah. They'll fight for you. And so just. I'm glad you're doing this because there are not just Biggers, but a lot of schools, as you mentioned, that are no longer in existence, but had good basketball programs and good basketball players come from those programs. And it was a sad day when the school closed.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, part of me closed too.
Yeah.
But I am just so thankful to have that opportunity to play at Biggers-Reyno, even though we only had 220 kids in the whole school. And I wouldn't go back and change that for anything.
I think Brad said it best. I can't add nothing more to that because you're correct.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I appreciate it. I mean, this is, you know, like I said, when we sit down and I hit record, I was like, this is just going to be fun.
I've said this many times, and it's still true. This was the greatest Buffalo team that I remember in my lifetime. This is the team that taught me and my teammates what it meant to put on that red and black uniform and to carry Buffalo pride. Thank you to Brad Haygood and Chris Eddington for taking time to sit down with me and take this stroll down memory lane. And a very special thank you goes out to my good friend Mike Thompson and First Horizon Bank in Pocahontas, Arkansas, for providing the location for us to sit down and record this interview. And I want to say one more time, thank you again to everyone who's listened to the Final Jump Shot podcast. Be sure and subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast provider so you never miss an episode. I'm your host, Marcus Carlton, and this has been the Final Jump Shot.
You've been listening to The Final Jump Shot, a Cam Productions podcast. Subscribe to The Final Jump Shot to ensure you never miss an episode.